Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we have just been given our first look at episode 5 of the Wheel of Time, dropping this Friday thanks to Amazon Prime India. Now, before I get in, if this is the sort of thing you want to see before anybody else drops this sort of news to you guys, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below and turning on notifications. Right, without further ado, let's jump right into this teaser. Look at Tar Valon.
A long time since we've been home.
Is she ready for what's waiting in the White City?
She's talking about Nynaeve. Oh, ooh, that's what I thought.
You have two very powerful enemies here. It's all right to be afraid.
Oh, wow.
Maybe it's you, Aes Sedai, who shouldn't underestimate me.
Oh, God, Eddie.
He's
losing
himself.
I will try and protect you as best
Oh,
I can.
wow. Oh. Okay, jeez. My lord, that is quite the teaser and there's a lot going on in that. So straight away, let's now break down this video. We start off with one of the entrances to Tar Valon. I thought this looks really, really cool. Or at least I presume, yeah, it is Tar Valon, because you can see in the top right corner, just before we go to the next scene, we can see what we've already seen about Tar Valon in the other trailers. And then next we get a look at both Lan and Moiraine, now I would say travelling back to Tar Valon with the Aes Sedai accompanying them. And I think here, when they're saying, is she ready for what's waiting in the White City, I think they're alluding to Nynaeve. Now that she's finally kind of showcased her hidden potential with the One Power. I think, you know, obviously, as we know, they're not going to let her get away now. She's definitely going to have to become an Aes Sedai at this point, as we know in the books. And then, yeah, we get our look at a shot we've already seen before of Tar Valon. Once again, there's not too much new sort of information to be gained from this, but I believe one of my viewers said this is Rand and Mat as well. But whether that's the case, I'm not too sure, because looking at where they are, it might be a little bit different. But then we get something really cool and interesting, which we already knew would be happening. We're going to get the Tuatha Dé Fon meeting and finding the White Cloaks along their kind of travel to Tar Valon, and that's when all mayhem is going to break loose with that situation, because we've seen already in the final trailer, I believe, Aram was either killed or knocked out by one of the White Cloaks, and they had 3 horses circling around Egwene and Perrin. And as we know, the last time they all bumped into the White Cloaks, they were together with Moiraine and Lan and the whole group. And so quite a lot is going to be happening in these scenes from what we can see. They try to run away from the White Cloaks to begin with, particularly Aram, Egwene and Perrin. So I feel like they kind of split up from the rest of the travelling people to try and escape on their own, because Aram already in that 4th episode was starting to show a bit of doubt in the way of the Leaf, and so I think this is a further proof of that as he leaves his family to try and save these 2 new friends of his. Up next we get a few shots now of the White Cloaks kind of rounding up the Tuatha Dé Fon, and they actually strike one of the women, which I think kind of says a lot about what's going to happen within these scenes. I think, as we all know, the travelling people, they do not condone any violence, nor will they engage in that, and so I think that's going to be quite a one-sided kind of situation we're going to see unfold. And then next we've got a look at Logain in his now crazy state as he's being taken through, I would say now, Tar Valon on the way to the White Tower to kind of have judgment served against him. Although what kind of judgment can be served to him now that he's being gentled, I really do not know, other than kind of keeping him in the White Tower to keep an eye on him, like we've seen in the books. And of course we've also seen other shots where Rand and Mat, you know, kind of bump into Logain, and as we know, he can see fellow Tarvarin, and so I think this potentially could be what this scene is all about, where he's looked at Rand and seen everything that's going to happen with him and just his situation. I think that's going to be really cool to see play out as well. As he looks absolutely crazy and actually just laughing, I think he's just seen what is going to, unfold as a result of bumping into Rand there. And then we've got a few new shots of Alanna and Moiraine, I would say now, in the White Tower, without a doubt, just looking at the designs in the background. And we've got a really interesting line here where Alanna says to Moiraine, "You have two very powerful enemies here." Now, it's really interesting to see what they showed straight away after that brief clip of Alanna saying that, because we get a shot of Liandrin. Now, of course, we know there's some opposition between the Reds and the Blues and the Greens and every other Ajah about what to do. But that could be a bit of misplay going on there, and the two powerful enemies could more likely be, I would say, the Shadowspawn that was chasing them with the group, but most likely it is still to do with a bit of kind of the Aes Sedai politics, which I think is an interesting thing to see. But there's also this scene where Moiraine is now opening up this sort of kind of safe, and what's in there we have yet to see. But I just found that really interesting. Up next, we see a scene with Moiraine, Nynaeve and Lan in the tower, and I think she's trying to just say to Nynaeve, it's alright to be afraid of everybody and the situation that you find yourself in, because it's so new to her, and the fact now she's channeled. So I think it's more to do with the fact that she can channel a new experience for her, and perhaps there's going to be a slight different kind of story plot point with that, where she maybe didn't know she could channel, and so that could be something a little bit different and a change for the show. But I also love Nynaeve's follow-up to that statement where she goes, maybe it's you Aes Sedai who shouldn't underestimate me. And I think that says quite a lot about her character and how she feels about herself, because I think it's more than likely going to be the fact that they all talk about how Nynaeve is stronger than any of them that they've ever bumped into in the world. This is the Aes Sedai to them. And so I think that will give her the confidence to kind of push back at them and say, well, I'm stronger than all of you, even though I cannot control what I do with the one power presently. I think that will give her a lot of confidence. And just looking at the next shot and the outfits, this is very much Nynaeve with Lan. What she's given Lan, I really don't know what it is. But I would definitely suggest this is a scene just between the pair of them, because I think they've gotten a lot closer over the last couple of episodes. Maybe it's a note to give to one of the other people, one of the group that have now finally made their way there. Then we've got a shot of Lan running through the hallway. What's going on there? I have no clue. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens in that particular passage. And then we've got this really interesting kind of Knights of the Round Table sort of vibe and feeling going on here, where we've got a look at kind of this monument of, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swords kind of on this monument, but then also in the background you'll note there's like this katana that's placed away from the rest of them. I'm sure there's a lot of significance on that I can't think of currently, and so I'll probably edit this video and do a little bit of research before uploading it to see if there's something to do with that I just cannot wrap my brains around right now. And then now we're starting to see the huge effects that the dagger is now placing on Mat. And as we all know, a lot happens within this phase in his kind of story and his life. So this is going to be really interesting to see how Barney plays this out. I think he's going to do a fantastic job with this particular sequence. He's going to be very suspicious of absolutely everyone, including people he's known for his whole life, and that's just the side effect of having the dagger for that length of time. Oh, okay, yeah. So you can see Rand is now with Nynaeve. So this is definitely something I can now say with certainty. The whole group are going to meet up now back in Tar Valon. All the 3 separate groups will make their way to Tar Valon in the 5th episode, and we're going to, get that huge meeting that we've already seen, where we saw Egwene hug Nynaeve in the White Tower, and Lan was happy to see that kind of reconnection happen. So that's kind of cool. And so I think we're more than likely going to get the kind of healing process that the Aes Sedai will do on Mat to get rid of the dagger from his possession. I will try and protect you as best as I can. Now, who is she saying that to? That's to Nynaeve. You can quite clearly see Nynaeve's earrings in the far left corner. So that's going to be interesting in itself. I feel there's kind of going to be a meeting of Nynaeve with maybe the Amyrlin seat in this episode because of her potential, which is going to be quite interesting to see play out, because those are 2 headstrong characters as well. And then, these next scenes, these final few scenes, are going to be quite gruesome to see play out, I think. As you can see, this is most likely either the Travelling people, or maybe this is Egwene and Perrin, and they're having their hands tied as they're going to be questioned by the questioner, Eamon Valder, and perhaps we might see some hands being chopped off again, which I think is going to be a bit crazy to see. And then we've got a scene with Valder inside the tent where we know Perrin and Egwene will be, because they're going to be keeping those scenes in this episode. And he drops the knife. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out within the span of an hour. Maybe we're seeing a few shots from later episodes, so it's a little bit harder to make out what's going to happen, because just the pacing of everything and where everybody is in the world doesn't really, at the moment, fit in here. And then finally, the last 2 shots. Now this is quite a poignant scene, because these are, I would say, we can quite clearly make out this is Moiraine here with Liandrin and a few other red and green sisters, and obviously this is some sort of funeral for all the fallen members that were attacked and killed during the Dragonsworn ambush on them to try and free Logain. We've already seen this shot before, but then of course this is another further look at it, and then we finally hear kind of that Lan scream that we hadn't already gotten, and of course we see Moiraine kind of crying as well. But yeah, that's coming this Friday, so that is my breakdown of this clip. I hope you guys have all enjoyed it. If you have, please hit the thumbs up button down below on the video, and of course if you have any comments, do leave them in the section down as well there below. Alright, once again, thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all in another video later this week.